Came too far to turn back. The return of the lyricist. Get it together.
You're listening to You Good with Mike Brown, a mental health podcast. I might have a guest, I might not have a guest, but we're going to talk about mental health, and I hope that it's good. Follow me on things at Yo Mike Brown. Peace. So you have a band now? I didn't know you had a band.
Oh, I have instrumentalists that play with me.
Okay. Just so you know, like I don't start like doing intros and shit. It's just like, this is it.
Oh,
We're in
okay.
It. Yeah, it's just, I
go.
literally record a conversation and just put it out.
Oh,
it's really nuts.
It's so awesome. I'm so structured.
Yeah.
my podcast, because my background is in radio.
Yeah.
So, you know, like my co-host always laughs at me. I have a health and fitness podcast called The Compound Movement, THA. Compound Movement, and I'm the one that's like, all right, this segment's taking too long. Like I am but that was how I was. I got a degree in communications.
Oh,
that was
I'm exactly the same.
And you're like, nah, but and I'm editing. I'm sitting there taking out like deep breaths.
Okay, well, that's why I had to do this. That's why I had to do this with a network for the first go round, because I was like, I'm so meticulous in everything that I do that if I did it myself, I would literally drive myself crazy, because I'm very it needs to be even the posts, everything is very me with images, and we need to have this, and then I would record an episode, and then I would do the structured intro in the beginning and all these things, and I would be concerned about time, and I'm like, fuck that. The least anxiety I can have while creating art is what I'm going to have now.
That's so great.
Sorry
just so you know, that's actually privilege talking right now. Yeah,
is that privilege?
It's like, okay. I just had to start with a network.
Oh. Well,
you know.
Okay. Well, see, this is interesting.
The rest of us are just like
fighting to listen.
What's the site pod thing where you just upload?
Podbean. But
like,
look,
I just had to start with the network.
You look at it. See, people look at that like that's privilege, but I'm like, no, that's poverty. I said I don't have equipment to buy this shit, so somebody has to believe in this thing too.
Oh, that's true.
You see what I'm saying? So
people think it's dope. I will say that people think it's dope, but it's like, oh, it's so dope. Crickets.
Yes.
I'll listen when it comes out.
I tell everybody.
But it's a labor. I call it a labor of love. Like I don't.
You're a fucking artist, man.
Yeah, I don't expect it to make me
I don't get paid off this.
Time.
I don't get paid off this at all. But if it makes fans connections, cool. But this is no monetary thing.
I don't. I feel the same way. It's like I care about it. I got tired. Man. For me, with that, I got tired of people asking me these really not so smart questions about health and fitness because I was a trainer, because I work out, and it was just like, where are y'all getting y'all information from? And they'd be like, Dr. Oz said just take vitamin E, and I'm like, what the? Yeah. He gets paid to say half of what he says. Yeah. And half of the stuff he's saying is hella white. I was like, can I get something that talks to us and that speaks to our lifestyle, and we curse and we joke, and it's always funny when people come on, they're like, oh my God, I cursed, and I'm like, yes, it's okay, fuck shit, it's whatever.
Don't you feel like that's kind of weird? I'm going through that shit now where it's I feel like I remember with you particularly I've known you as Shanelle, but also as the poet at the same time, right? So it's when the life kind of changed or whatever, I think every artist goes through this point where your people who've known you before you started pursuing your art start respecting you like the artist you've always respected yourself as. Mm-hmm. And it feels weird at first because you're like, oh, you're treating me different because I'm trying to make a living from the thing. I've been doing this the whole time. Yeah. From the first show, I'm trying to get to this point.
But that's one thing I appreciate about you, because you've always showed me so much love. And then when you started, I remember one of the first things you said to me when I saw you, I was like, yo, you're really doing it. And you were like, yo, Shanelle, it's hard. It was like, Shanelle, I respect you so much. I didn't realize how hard it was. But the idea of even recognizing the struggle in all this thing, and even you've seen me through it. I've known you since undergrad.
Forever. It's just nuts. It's such a weird, that's why I do this podcast now too, because there's so many people like us, we have a connection just in the world.
Thing, yeah.
And then it's we also have this artist connection, and it's even at the Must Love Beards party, I low-key was I had to smoke before I came because me and Janice are homies now. Yeah. We'll talk about like just life and business and all that shit. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna come by your party. You're having an event. So I really didn't come by for the party.
You came by for her?
I came by for her until like I knew Kenny and Horace. Everybody, I knew people were gonna be there. So I'm like, oh, I'll see everybody. But then when I'm there, I'm like, oh man, anxiety. Like, oh man, all these. It's just so many people here. You know what I mean? And I'm just used to being like around other artists and only being where like I feel like I quote unquote belong and not feeling like an outsider. So when I go there and it's like oh, I'm seeing my people, but also everybody's dressed in the 90s theme and everyone's here for this reason, for this, for the day party.
Must love beards.
Yeah.
I don't do clubs. I'm wearing a 90s clothes day party.
Yeah. Everybody's there popping for this, and I'm just like, oh, I'm just here to hang out with my friends.
But that's what it is. I mean, truth be told, at the end of the day, I get it. Like, we all have our things. Mm-hmm. I mean, the weird thing for me is I usually go places by myself a lot.
Yeah.
Because I know I'll see people I know there, and whether I latch onto them or not, it's like I'm good anyway. I really go for music. That's why I'm every DJ's best friend. Like I could care less who's with me. If I get a good like 2-step in dance, I'm great.
Yeah.
But like I mean the anxiety of like sometimes I've had that where I've not wanted to go places unless I felt like I had a network with me or people that are like completely insulated.
Yeah.
But I mean I had a good time. It was I bought my tube top. I had my Aaliyah tube top.
Listen,
my little Hill figure, the little
Shanelle,
one.
listen.
Bought my tube top.
You looked great.
Thank you so much, dear.
You looked.
I appreciate it.
Incredible.
I appreciate you.
God damn. I was like, this is like the fitness journey is real. It's real. You would just show. I was like, oh man. I was like, you got it. You always got it. But damn, you got it. You got it. But, you just sliced up now. But
here's
just
the thing.
Cut. That's all.
I swear, but I don't do this like my brain. People are like, well, how'd you work towards it? I don't have a goal. I work out because it's like the way I manage my stress.
Yeah.
And anxiety, and like I didn't like now I work like if I don't work out I'm noticeably bitchier. I'm noticeably like more on edge about stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just a byproduct. It's like, wow, your abs. I'm like, she must have been really stressed out this year. Damn, she going through it. Like that's what you gotta look at it as. Yeah. Like it's not like I actually said, I want abs or I want arms. I'm literally like, I just need to move and get it out. Yeah. That's why I tell for me, one of the things that helps me manage both having lupus and just both like existing in the world and working in a lot of really tense spaces. Mm-hmm. The thing that helps me has always been like movement. Has been yoga. I remember one time, I don't know why it hit me exceptionally hard. My mom passed away a few years ago, and Mother's Day sucks. Yeah. But it wasn't even around Mother's Day. It was just out of nowhere. It just really hit me hard. Yeah. And I was driving from Harlem. I was doing something in Harlem. I'm driving back, and it's like 5:00 on a Saturday. And I'm like in my car and I'm just crying. Like I'm driving and I'm crying. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, stop. And I don't remember what happened. I just remember saying, there has to be a yoga studio open. And shout out to Heel House for the only place I know would have a yoga class at 6 p.m. on a Saturday night when everybody else is still drunk off mimosas, right? I went straight there. I was just like, can I sign up? And I felt so good after. Like, that's what I'm saying. So for me, like, like I always say that the fitness, the wellness part is like a byproduct of everything else. Like, so, I get to wear it's great benefits, I can wear a crop top and feel like I did it. It's funny because they posted on the I Don't Do Clubs, they posted picture with me.
They go crazy.
People were like, abs. That was just like, yes, abs. People don't know. It's like, I got some followers like, girl, I'm gonna follow her abs. Like, not like.
Nah, it's real. It is. It's real. It's one of those things where it's like there's so many people who are like on Instagram and like you don't know if it's real or fake, but you're someone who have like known as a real person. Mm. So I'm just like, oh damn, like okay, yeah, she's doing it. And then seeing like, oh shit, this is more realer than I thought. Like she was trying to filter to keep us away from the realness of how great these abs look right now.
Listen, it was just, hey,
that's great.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
But then I appreciate it. But you also can do it like it's like you do fitness and you figure out a way to like. And this is the other anxiety thing where it's like you kind of figure out a way to take that passion of that thing that you want to do and love to do and start to like figure out ways to do it, which is another thing where it makes me struggle with, because my entire life I thought I was funny and I knew I could do comedy, but the more I do comedy, and thought I was going to be a stand-up comic, which I am, I realized like stand-up comedy is my working out. Like when I do stand-up, that I'm just the least anxious. You know what I mean? Like I don't even care, and just like all the sets feel fluid and all these things, but then the industry of it. It was tearing me up, and it like sunk me into like this depression that like I got out of. But it's just like, did you deal with any of that?
Yeah.
I just don't know how it is, how it feels. Like,
it's so hard sometimes watching people do their art full time, because I have a job. Like, I literally, I feel bad. I didn't even tell my boss where I was going. I was like, I'll be back.
But that's part of it.
Across, and I could have said, I just didn't feel like engaging, because I was just not.
Yeah, and you can go whenever you need to. Whenever.
No. He's like, and scene. No.
Well, thanks for coming. You can find her.
No. But I mean, I have a great job where they allow me to be flexible. It's something that means a lot to me, and I don't take advantage. I'll stay late. I'm hypersensitive to the idea of like ever feeling like I'm taking advantage of the privileges I have at my job. But no, having a job, like I had to. So a lot of people don't know, and I'm starting to be more vocal about it. Like I stopped. I was full time as an artist for about 6 years. Like I did other things on the side, things that like might have looked.
First of all, congratulations. Because it is rough.
It was a good. No, I had a good run. I had a good run where it wasn't as rough, because I was doing the college circuit. The first summer was hard because I was doing most of it. NACA, APCA, all of that. Well, more NACA than APCA. And doing those were good because I had one check after Def Poetry. I was able to say, hey, I do this thing. Now y'all believe me. You
got your credit.
But it's the world we live in. TV makes you somebody. Like nobody, my family wouldn't even all the way. Like, okay, it's cute. Oh, my sister's on TV, and then everybody was like, yay. But I had a good run. And then of course it slows down. It's an ebb and flow. Any business.
All ebb and flows.
Ebbs and flows. Like if you freaking selling bottled water, it ebbs and flows. No one's buying it in the winter because it's cold and they don't want to drink nothing. Like I just want hot cocoa. Like every business ebbs and flows. But when the flow got really low, that rhyme. Bars. I had a show in Montana, and yes, it was in Montana. It was great. I love Montana. If the zombie apocalypse hits, I'm going out there.
Montana? All right.
But the host family, while I was there, when I got there, I landed there, I had a pain in my side.
Okay.
But I was like, I kind of went to like a regular little doctor out there where I was. The nearest hospital, ER, was an hour and a half away from where we were. It's like rural. So I was like, let me just go to like the town doctor. And he's like, well, it's not, because I was like, let's just make sure it's nothing, because I had a cold. He's like, it's not pneumonia, but it could be, a couple other things. I'm like, okay, I'll deal with it when I get back to New York. And so for 3 days, I had this pain in my side that got progressively worse, but in my brain, I could deal with it because I was like, I have a show on Saturday and Sunday. It's Wednesday. Let me just get through this show, and then I can get home and be in my bed and be with the doctors I know. While I was out there, I woke up finally on the day of the show, which was Saturday. Woke up on Saturday at like about 4 a.m. Could not breathe. I was like, oh, this junk just bit me. This just got me. And ran to the hospital and was in the hospital. And turned out I had 2 pulmonary embolisms, 2 blood clots in my lung. And so the doctor is like, how long have you had this? I said, since Wednesday. And he's like, you've been walking around. If like this lodged, it would go straight to your brain. You would not be talking to us right now, right?
Wow.
And I was like, damn. And he's like, all right. And I'm like, so what are you gonna do? He's like, I'm gonna start you on this. I'm like, okay. Am I gonna get out of here like by tomorrow? Because I have a show. I have to pay my rent. He's like,
artist life.
He's like, you almost died. And I'm like, yeah. So is there a pill I can take to do my show? And it wasn't until I got, of course.
If I don't die, where am I gonna live?
Exactly.
Pay my rent.
I might need to live.
I'm an artist. Please.
I just need to eat, sir. Sir, I don't got no money for the copay. And so I was stuck there I'm sorry, that happened Friday. It was supposed to be a part. I wasn't going to perform the Friday, but I was going to go to the conference. But they kept me till Sunday. My flight out was on Monday. I actually was cleared to leave on Sunday. But I was there and I was just kept thinking, and praise God, I was booked by the United Methodist Church out there. The Lord had favor. They were like, we know you can't do the whole thing you're planning to do, but we're going to give you the money anyway.
Blessed, for the trip.
You know, and I got out and I was able to do something that like Sunday and just kind of talk like really briefly. But I went back home on Monday, and I think it took a week for me to like really process the fact that, and I finally was just like, man, my stress of like not knowing how I was going to pay my rent superseded like my health. Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
I looked for a job that week. I was like, I don't want to ever be that.
Oh, my God.
And I mean, but here's how it helped me. And I guess back to the initial question, it helped me because for me now, I like performing. I like doing poetry. I like singing. A lot of people that even knew me, I started out as a singer. Most people don't know that. Everybody knows the poetry because that's what started paying me.
Yeah, the poetry started paying you first, and you had the credit first. With the singing,
that was it.
Yeah,
it was like,
just that
shoot,
credit.
She can sing too.
Yeah.
All right, do that poem you like. But that's what I like about, and then I look at people that are full-time right now, and I'm sometimes like, what if I stayed with it? I'm watching people, but then there's my heart that's like,
it's rough.
I get a check every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about my health insurance and trying to like lie to Medicaid to see if I could stay on it, because that was like, Obamacare is not cheap, you know. So yes, I think that for me it's just like that, you know, the stress of being a full-time artist. For me right now, I'm very comfortable where I am, that I can do my art.
Yeah, but that's where you want to be.
Yeah.
It's a like I'm full-time, but I always like put an asterisk on it because like I think even me saying I'm full-time makes it sound like I'm good, but like the last few months it was, oh boy, gotta hit this budget for the month. Because if I don't hit it, I'm asked out, and then I'm dipping into this other thing, and then I don't know what I'm gonna do. I have to get a job. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like even that idea of like full time means I use, you know, out of the time that I have, I use all of it to make money from the art. And I have time to do it. So it's like I've bought my time in a sense. Yeah. But it's hard to fucking do it and put it all together and worry about those ebbs and flows and months and things like that. Sometimes you as artists, you know, you could have a good month. You have a great run, and then it's like, oh shit, and then
balling.
Yeah, it's just so like it's fucking weird. And I think like even with this podcast show, it's like when you started, right? You being an artist was, and it felt so much more riskier than it is now.
Well, I didn't do the whole full-time thing until I could comfortably do so. And that's the other side, I think, that and I tell like I talk to a lot of young people that are like, I just want to do my art, and I'm like, yo, bruh, I worked before. Like I had a job. Raheem Wright got me my job when he worked at a staffing agency. Yes, I throw in names. Raheem the Dream got me my job.
Shout out to Raheem the Dream, man.
But got me a job. That's back when he worked at a staffing agency.
Oh, man.
And I worked at a corporate bank. And I literally handed my money, my check, to my producer to do my first album. Because I was like, I want to do it quality. I was waiting on people to do my album.
Yeah. Sounds like privilege to me.
Oh, no. That's not. That was struggle. I literally this is my Metro card and my lunch money. I was still living with my stepmom at the time, and that was not the most healthy place for me to live. And I was there, and I was like, I'm going to make this work. Because when I was trying to get I had people that offered to do it for free.
Yeah, but it's not going to be the level.
No, they dipped.
They left. They just started.
Okay, well, I don't want to say. I'm not going to throw.
Okay, no, don't throw. Okay,
I'm not throwing nobody under the bus.
Okay,
but it was a very accomplished producer. Who was a friend of mine.
Who was looking out for you.
And who was like, yeah, I got you. Oh my God, I got you, girl.
Too busy.
And then he went on tour and left me. I got back. I got out of school. I graduated. I was like, yeah, it's a wrap this summer. And he's like, yeah, this summer.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
They just stopped answering his text messages, but he's known for doing that.
Yeah.
So I don't feel the way about it.
Get out of that with all the.
I don't feel the way about it.
A few shots thrown, all right.
It's a shot, but it's not a real shot if I don't say anything.
Yeah. But you can feel that because as an artist, you have to do all these sacrifices, and you look at that full-time artist like, yo, if you just do this one thing.
You just give me you got like beats under your bed, like in
just
a box.
Throw me something.
Anything.
Throw me a life raft, and I'll get out of this.
And then when the album was done, he was like, wow, I should be on this. And I was like, I'm going to throw this at you. But so I paid for it, and that was the thing. But I made sure I had capital, and at least I established some skills. And I mean, I think that's the other side of like, the privilege. I mean, that is the gift of like, not I wouldn't say privilege, but that's the gift of like starting out like on that. So, because if anything failed, I was like, I know I can get a job. I have skills. I have references. I have something.
I know how to work, and I know how to get work.
Yeah, and I think that if you just like jump in head first, and then you're like, oh shoot, let me get a job, and you're like 35, and you've never ever worked in a space,
it's never gonna work for you.
You're like
it's not. Yeah,
you can't just show up when you feel like it, the way you did, that show, a gig you did, you know. So, I mean, it's a stress. I think there's a stress of being an artist and not having the support. Like I had people that looked out. I will say that I did have people that looked out. And some, certain people like Will Dawson was a good friend of mine, and like he was somebody like I remember one time like, yo, bro, I can't make my rent. Can you please help?
Yeah. My
father's retired, so I couldn't really ask him. I didn't have like I had a pride thing when it came to my other family. But yeah, at the end of the day, though, there is this idea and expectation that your artistry has to look like this. You have to like look like this, and it wasn't. It's me talking to people, and like I always say, I'm always talking to young people about it because it's just we live in such a world that there's these mirages. Like
there's
everybody's
so many
looking
filters.
at Instagram.
Oh, it's scary.
And everybody's like, all I gotta do is get a channel on YouTube, and I'm gonna be famous because that Scoop did it, or I'm gonna throw a party and it's gonna tour like Duce Palooza did.
Oh my God! I just gotta do these short comedy videos, and then they're gonna.
These skits and you can't even do a full set when they book you. Like those are all like real things.
Yeah.
And so I tell like a lot of people, I tell a lot of people that like, yo, it's all mirage. And if I didn't know that, and if I don't have to constantly remind myself that, you know, that the IG world is a lie, that the social media world is a lie.
This is the new conspiracy, by the way, where it's like I go around like, hey, the internet is a lie. It's not real. And they're like, what are you talking about? Those are real people. But no, not like that. You don't understand.
Because the people do the humble brag on Instagram, which kills me. Which doesn't even, because it's like, you know what, it's just let y'all know it's a struggle. While they hold the Ciroc bottle in the section of the club. No one knows what it took to get here. And it just looks like you're lying. It still makes it look easy, but it's like all these people. I mean, and Instagram, all this social media, I have to I put it down when I need to.
Yeah.
You know, the whole people being married, and I'm wondering, I ain't married yet. And they all in love. But then I had a friend of mine that had gotten married, an associate of mine, I'll say. And they had gotten married, and their proposal went viral. It was a big deal.
That's
and
great.
It was like, wow. And I know there was billions of women out there like, oh my God, I wish I was her.
Yeah.
And he definitely was sliding into my DM still.
Wow.
So
bars.
So I say that to say, I'm like, you know what? I can't look at anybody, even the people I know that are in healthy, healthy or healthy-ish relationships.
Everything is problematic. Everything is fucked up. Nothing is good.
We can't ever look at that and think like, yo, I need to have that. I want that, because it's you don't know.
You don't. It's so fucking weird, and it's still, even for me, even through comedy, things that I've accomplished, and I've never been a person to feel like I brag or boast or have shit to brag about.
But you've done some dope stuff, man.
But I don't look at it like that, because I'm like...
Because you're looking at the next thing.
Yeah, I'm looking at the next... I'm like, 1, the next thing. 2, nobody else cares. And 3, I'm broke. I don't know what I should be proud of. And they're like, but you did it. And I'm like... But for me, I'm like, yeah, anybody can do it if they believe in themselves a little bit. And I'm just like, I believe that I can do stuff. If it fucked up, if it doesn't look good, I'm sorry. But I tried. You know what I mean? At least I can fail if I try.
I mean, but even the trying thing, a lot of people are just scared to even try. And I think that's the thing, the reason why people always look at artists like yourself.
Oh yeah, because
as you're doing it. You're doing the thing that I thought about, or the thing that I've watched other people do, and I want to be a champion crocheter, and I'm never going to do that because I'm in corporate
You have the dreams.
whatever your dream is, this like the idea of anyone pursuing something that they love and them knowing that they didn't do it, it's always going to be putting you on a pedestal. I feel like that's the thing.
But that's so uncomfortable. I
accept it. I'm just like, I'm gonna nod my head. I just need you to come to my next show, though. That's all. You can brag on me. You can talk about how dope it is. But if you don't come to my next show, it's not helping.
All for naught.
It's all for naught.
It's all for naught.
You know,
I took a year off of stand up because like I was just really like mentally stressed out, and I've never felt like happier in a way. Like I really found myself again because like. I don't know how it is in the poetry world when like you're like running around, but like in this comedy world, like when you run around and go to shows, you might have to hang around to get like a spot. You know what I mean? And if they don't see you all the time, then sometimes they're like, oh yeah, I know that person's funny, but I don't know because they don't have heat right now and all that. And it's like all these little things where for me as a person, I'm like, oh no, I'm not like I'm doing an act sometimes. I'm writing jokes, but like this is me. Oh, you don't want me, Mike Brown, the person here? And then I'd be like, well, I don't need to be here because I know I'm funny or whatever. If you don't want me here, I don't have to be here either. And I'll leave. And then like when I started coming around like again now, they're like, Mike, where you been? And I'm like, well, you guys didn't book me. And it's weird to be like, well, I'm here as like an artist who wants to perform. If you don't want me to perform, and you're not like my friend for real, like we're not having conversation, then I'll just go home because like I'm not trying to like rub shoulders and be friends with you so you can let me perform. I want you to respect my art. It's such a weird thing.
I feel like. And that was one cool thing. So when I was touring, a lot of times they booked me with comedians, and I didn't realize how much we have in common. Yeah, because it's just genres. But you know, that was one thing because we're both requiring on our own stories and our own voices to be the thing, right? And so it was just like one of those like. Sitting down with like Derek Gaines and
shout out to Derek Gaines.
Yeah, like we did shows together. Freaking Omar the comedian. You know, all these different people that we did gigs with, and watching everybody kind of go through like talk about the things. This is very similar in poetry. I mean, I've seen the only thing about it I will say is that I think because poetry means different things to different people. Like you can laugh, like people are gonna laugh if they want to laugh. If it's funny, it's funny. Yeah. Poetry is like, hey, I'm in my bag. Or either you're with me or not. The one thing that for me always it's completely performative, and at the end of the day, I was blessed to be on Def Poetry. Like that was the thing that like made a cosign. And you know, so and I genuinely looked at it as I treated poetry like a business. Like I did the hobnobbing, rubbing shoulders with people. But I'm also like a super social person anyway. So
see, that scares me. Because I know your socialness. I mean, like you're just so dope. Anyway, but there's like you know that there's like the game that you can play. And then also to get to that point where you want to be, you kind of play some of that game. But even with that, for me, I did some of that, but it just exhausted me.
Yeah, no, it's draining.
I was like drained. Like I can't. I got no more.
Well, just so you know, I did get like situations where I asked people. Remember when the blog phase was like a big thing? Oh yeah. Everybody had a blog.
Everybody had a
blog. Viewers, right?
Yo, shout out to me, man. I was early on this game. Talk to Kid Fury. Talk to everybody. I was early. I feel like from Master Flex. I've been here. Y'all just seeing me like, who's he? I've been here.
Drop a bomb on it.
But yeah, during the blog phase.
During the blog phase, I remember like saying, hey, can you play this? And these are people that I like partied with, hung with, chilled with. And it was like funny that happened. And I was like, yo, can you just like put this on your blog? I have a video. And I got a response that said, I just don't think your track is, dope enough. I'm like,
wow.
Meanwhile,
as a friend, can you do me this favor, friend? Then.
But what was hard was there was somebody else that came out, and I love the person to death, and they had a video, but they also had management. Ooh. And they put, I'll never forget, it went up on the blog, and the blog post was, new track by so and so. Isn't she beautiful? Had nothing to do with the track being dope. Like literally said, isn't she beautiful? And I was like, oh, that's what it is. I don't look like I'm 3 parts Cherokee. Got it.
Damn.
I'm regular black.
I mean, your music good, but you ain't cute though. You ain't cute, so I'm not putting you on the blog. Like that's some bullshit.
But it's politics.
But it's all politics.
Like, who's plugged into who?
So much bullshit.
I'm gonna put you here, and I'm like, okay, not saying that my junk, maybe my junk wasn't John Blaze. It's all right. It's all right. But it's like, but you gonna put that on? It was trash. Like, it was literally like, you didn't even have a positive thing to say about the actual song.
Yeah.
Like, you usually go in, you didn't have nothing. So it was just one of those, like, that was one of those times where I said, I'm not asking for nothing anymore. Just because it really was like, I'm cool with all these people and ain't nobody trying to put me on. The people that's putting me on are the people on the outskirts, like the outliers that are like, yo, I'm trying to help you here.
Yeah.
And the politics get in. Like, I mean, I've done gigs with people, and because somebody else's name was bigger than mine, may not even have like actual, like, real, like, I don't think that they were dope. Sorry. No.
Yeah.
Just being real. But they had a name, or the producer just liked them. Or had a crush on them. I've seen that. Oh my God, you're just amazing. I was like, bruh, like, wow. just stop ask her out. Like, stop. Like, it's very clear that when this comes out, I'm gonna have this much in it, and that person's gonna have a whole scene. Like, I get it. I'm watching it. I'm like looking at the conversation, and I'm seeing my photos slowly, my images slowly on the editing room floor.
Yeah.
You know, and that was very discouraging too. And I think I do have a chip on my shoulder about that. #MeToo is a thing. You know, having to deal with like the industry. That's why I left music. That's why I started out. I did hooks for Redman. I did hooks for like other art. I was in music.
Yeah, I know the music part because you were doing those things, and that's why I always like refer to you like as an artist more, because you were doing music and poetry.
Yeah, I tried to mix it too. At one point in time, I didn't even know poetry came later.
Yeah.
I was in high school in random studios with grown-ass men doing hooks for random rappers.
Wow.
Like that's how I met Clark Kent. I was in his studio. Yeah. Like every other day, like, who needs a hook? Because that's how you blew up. Remember Ashanti?
Yeah,
you just get on the track and then they blow up and then you're like, yay, I'm so happy.
Yeah.
And I was... But I was doing a dance. But
you have a very Ashanti vibe with the dance.
I can't stand Ashanti. I can't stand her. But
oh my God.
But it was like, but watching that where they were like, never Clark Clinton. That's the reason why I respect certain people that never ever would like let anyone disrespect me in front of them. Yeah. But like the random like dudes on the outskirts, that's like
why are you here? And
I'm trying to do music, and you took my number out the Rolodex and talking about you want to take me out, and I'm like, I'm underage. I was very aware. I was like, very Brooklyn. Like, I came here to sing. What you want? I'm not doing nothing with you. I was very Brooklyn then. And and having to deal with that. So all of that, leads to all of these insecurities that come about later. Yeah. Like, am I good enough? Is my art doesn't speak for itself? Yeah. Do I have to look like this? Yeah. Like record label, executives telling people around me like, she's good, but we don't know how to market her, or she's good, but she's not pretty enough. Like, I've heard all of that.
That doesn't sound. I know it's real, and I want to say it doesn't sound real. Like, I know it's not right, but it's just like my brain cannot process that these things happen. Like, I constantly feel like a white person finding out about police brutality for the first time. Like, what's going on? I've heard, but
we're also desensitized to it, especially as a black woman in America. Yeah. Like, we're also desensitized to all of that. So, like, even when the whole #MeToo thing came out as a movement, I remember my first thoughts were like, duh, which is horrible. It's absolutely horrible. But it took a guy saying it back to me to realize, like, because he was like, well, yeah, I mean, that's the game. And I was like, no, it shouldn't be. Then I was like, wait.
There it is.
I just said, because I'm like, of course the guys are going to try to do whatever. You just got to be real firm about your no.
Yeah.
And, and that was, for me in my brain, I was like, wow, I'm so desensitized to the fact that, like, what was going on had nothing to do with my talent sometimes, where people were just trying to like smash, like, and it was always something you joke about, people joke about, like, how so-and-so made it to the top by, Mariah Carey had to have a husband and so-and-so. But that was, and even hearing like people that I respected say, Shanelle, if you're going to give it up to some random dude on the street that can't do nothing for you, at least give it up and you get something out of it. And I was like, what? Like,
I mean, that is a very good transaction. Just,
I mean,
just for the record. I mean, something for nothing is better than something. Something for something. Yeah, is better than something for nothing, depending on what the something is. If it's your respect, you got to know how much to evaluate.
I would just appreciate it if it was not like the ugliest dude in the room.
Oh, see,
let me shut up. I'm not going to justify. I'm not going to justify.
You good-looking dudes out there, get your harassment on.
Listen, this is how. This is how I get dragged on Instagram. This is literally how I get canceled. You make it. That's why I can't hang with comedians. Y'all be getting me in trouble.
No, but this is
y'all be getting me. I'll say too much.
No, it's true, but it's like my thing is like I've always felt like if it's so weird because like I feel that my anxieties all the time, like if there was like work and a holler thing, I would always be like, hey, I want to work with you. However, also, I would like to do this. If we can't do that, this is fine. I still want to work. And you can't explain that to like, it's hard to explain that to somebody and for them to be like, okay, cool. He doesn't want anything. Like, no, I will really be like, oh, that's not happening. Okay, that path is never being crossed. We're not doing that. Let's just continue on this path to what isn't us fucking.
Well, I mean, I think the thing about it is I feel like you should get the work done first.
Well, see, that's the other thing.
Like it's like I
you
think
can't simultaneously do it
because it's creepy. It's like at the end of the day, I don't know if you're working with me because of that.
Exactly.
And so that's the other side. Like because there's always a part of me that while I recognize that there are people that are in power that abuse their power, and that's where the problem comes in. I also recognize that a lot of people meet their significant other where they work.
Yeah.
I recognize that I'm pretty awesome and I'm kind of cute. I understand the idea that like that might cross your brain, but let me get this work first. Let's get this done, and then we can. Then if you're like, yo, you're actually really cool. I respect you as an artist, and I'm gonna respect you in this space because that's why you're in this space.
And we don't have any more business together.
And now the business is done, or maybe there's other business, but now there's actually playtime. And now I'm like, all right, actually, you're really cool, and you were good to work with, and I know what you're like. I know who you are, rather than putting the cart before the horse. So when guys are always like, well, how do I holler at y'all now? I'm scared. I'm like, yo, just take the time to set.
I'll let y'all now.
Like it's a stupid thing.
That
but
was the name of my other podcast I was going to do. How do I holler at y'all now? Holler at y'all now with Mike Brown. Ladies, call in.
But it's like but it's such a real thing, and I say that like I don't ever want to I don't believe in just demonizing a gender. I believe in like educating a gender, and I say I do understand that like women we're good at processing certain things, and I don't think. Sorry, I'm going to go with a stereotype. I don't think men are great at processing
dumb.
Everything. Oh,
we're stupid. We're so dumb.
Oh, they agree with me. Okay.
I'm not saying that they're not going to claim me.
No, they are.
I had a hard time getting black people to fuck with me. No one's claiming me. I'm like, no, you're not. I'm black, guys. I'm black. I'm Mike Brown. I got some ideas. Shut up over there. What are you talking about?
My last name is Brown. Come on.
Yeah. What kind of motherfucker?
You are a light brown.
You're a light brown. Exactly. You Mike Beige motherfucker. Anyway, there's this thing about I feel like we don't want to admit that we're dumb, but we are. And I think, realistically, everyone is dumb in some way.
Yeah, we all have our intelligences.
Everything.
We all have our intelligences.
Yes, and also it's like, just the idea, even if it's like a gender thing, it's just from if you're identifying as a person who's working, you don't want sex to be anywhere near your work. You really don't want, you just want to work. You're doing it to get your check and get the fuck out of there.
Yep.
You might be one of the folks who was like, hey, you're there to work, get your check, whatever, do what you got to do, and get the fuck out of here. You know, it's the same thing like if there was if there's like a woman CEO and a young guy executive, it's like, but I think she would have, and this sounds sexist as shit, but I think she'd be like, let me not do anything until the business is done, you know. But it's just don't mix the business and the pleasure.
And I think that therein lies the rub, because it does, and then you get a chip on your shoulder, and that's the other side of it. Where I have a chip on my shoulder when it comes to the industry. That's why I stayed out of it. That's why I was glad to get out of it. I didn't want to be in it because I felt like it was always like pick this or this. The people that were the gatekeepers would be in control of like everything, and then would be like, all right, if you want this, then, you know, like, and that was never ever. And because I watched it happen around me, you know, I think the whole concept of this episode seems to be like talking about like all of the stressors that add to like artistry. Like that was like a stressor there too as a woman, like knowing that like, you're being picked apart, while like any rapper could come out looking like a rat. It don't matter what he looked like.
We literally had Old Dirty Bastard.
Yo, he's called ODB.
He's old, he's dirty, he's a bastard. You'll love him.
And it's like, yo.
But shout out to ODB.
I mean, Lil Wayne looks like his breath stinks. You know, like everybody, you know, it's like all of these things. But when it comes to women, and then, you know, the hyper idea of what women need to look like.
Yeah.
And then I also see the people, after a while, it's just you start to second guess yourself. Your ability, your art, your talent.
Yeah.
Like, is it enough? It's never going to be enough.
Yeah.
You know, like if I don't have this and look like this, if I don't act like this, if I'm not wearing this, if I don't, weaves don't do well in my hair. They pull my hair. I like my edges.
Yeah.
You know, all of these things that are like, really like important
to you,
to these to them. Oh,
to them. Okay,
it's like art is are not things that I identify as, and it's like, why can't I just like be myself? Well, I don't like this. I like my hair. Yes, it's 4C. Okay, I have a 4C curl. Okay,
yeah. Okay.
It ain't like,
don't know what it means, but yeah, what?
It's like really tighter curls.
Okay,
there
cool.
You go.
Cool,
look,
cool.
Look, I schooled you.
See, I learned. I'll be learning.
You know, and those are the things that make you have anxiety. But so for me, what made me feel better is now I do my art when I feel like it. Like I do what I care about. I have capital to do the things I care about. I can, you know, budget for the ability to like have a podcast and pay for a studio. Yeah. You know, since I'm not on a network.
I mean, because I don't have a budget, I have the studio here, and I have, and it comes with someone who's gonna take pictures and respond to my texts and my emails about sending things on time. You know, I haven't spoken to Chris Morrow since the dawn of time. He used to, once we got this thing going, I was like, "Hey, Chris, you still there?" It's gone. Just mail it. It's gone. Yeah, he's gone. He's like, "Leave me alone. Get out of here." I am the redheaded stepchild of this network. I'm sure you've heard of some of the other popular shows like Brilliant Idiots or The Read or basically anyone that has ads, okay? What makes my show very cool? We are ad-free, okay?
You know what? This is considered grassroots.
This is the grassiest of the roots. This is dirt level podcasting, people. My ears are to the streets. I'm below sea level on this. We are so broke over here. I will start a Patreon. Please support me.
Like,
please.
It's like public access.
Yes,
it's like,
please.
We're funded by viewers like you.
Listen, I will give you the shout outs as long as, listen.
Just text us 333.
Please, just send me something. As long as just let me get a monthly. Donation. Let me just be able to get monthlies. If y'all can just pay for my monthlies, I can figure everything else out.
You're like, this just church, can you pay tithe?
Yeah,
you
can you pay over please, here? 10%. Whatever you feel. Get what you feel. Get what you feel. It's really weird now. It's like when I'm on the train, and before I really dove into being an artist, I could always ignore a train act, like a subway act. I could always be like, whatever. But now I'm like super aware, super critical. Like I'll try, like, you know, like before I used to like not watching the dancers because I know if I watch them, I feel I have to give them money. And I'm like, I ain't got no money to give, so let me
get some clap.
Yeah, you get some clap.
I'm sorry, unless you got a card to swipe, I don't got cash.
Yeah,
you know,
nobody.
That's the other side. That's what's messing them up. You know, they're gonna have to like upgrade the swipe machines or something.
No, they gotta.
'Cause I be feeling bad. I be like, sometimes I'm like, I wish I don't got $1.
Nobody has cash on them anymore. Yeah, I would have my Venmo thing out. Just if you liked it, just take a picture of this. Send me something later.
Send me a couple dollars.
Bars, I'm about to write that in something. That's good. Comedy.
That's literally how it goes.
Yeah, that's literally this shit. Oh, God.
But I think what helps you, I think what helps is you can't marry yourself to like one idea of what your art is gonna be.
Oh no.
I think that's where we get struggles, where we think we have to be this, we have to like, our art needs to be this, I need to be published here, I need to be, you know, in this fellowship, you know, as a poet, my album needs to go platinum. It's like, man, if I can do it and do it because I love it. Yeah. I play with my band. Shout out to Divine, Nate Jones on bass, and whoever, Roberto. Yeah, usually Roberto. It's like whoever drummer, because Roberto be out sometimes.
Shout out to Roberto.
But like, shout out to my people that I play with on a regular basis.
How'd you put together your band, by the way? Because I want to put together a band eventually.
Oh, I always say just find one dope. One dope instrumentalist. Musicians are too vain to play with whack people. Yeah. So if you find one dope one, they're going to get their friends, and their friends are dope. Okay. That's literally how I did. I knew my friend Nate, and he was like, oh, you want a band?
that's how it goes with everything, though, too. Like with comedy, it's like, oh, who should I book? And I'm like, oh, get this person, this person, this person, and they're all dope because I think they're dope, and then you can keep.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's I know. The dude who does PVD, who does music for here. I'm gonna ask if we can do something because I just like that's like the last. I think my last frontier of like artistry.
Okay. All right, Redbone.
Yeah. Yeah. But all my songs will be like my songs would have the potential to chart, but it'd be like, don't take any of this seriously. You know what I mean? Like I think when with Childish Gambino, right? Like I think when he first came out, it was real his own expression, but he was doing it like Lil Wayne with his like
Gambino was the mastermind. What was that? Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah, Freaks and Geeks. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, Wayne, Lil Wayne, I see what you're doing. And then now, like what he's doing, I'm like, oh, that's dope too. But I just want to just be silly in the studio and just make jams that are like I want a higher production value of those type of songs that you would make with your friends if you weren't getting paid for it, but to figure out how to do that for people who like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I want to see you guys fuck around and just jam. I don't know how we can. These are how all my ideas happen, by the way. I say, what the fuck do I want to do? How can I do it the right way, like the good way?
No, that's how same here. Everything. Lord knows, I had no idea what I was doing. I graduated college, said I want to be a poet. My mom looked at me like I was crazy. My mom was like, wait, that's not a hobby? And my dad was like, you better leave this poetry book shit alone. I ain't pay all this money for college for you. You know, like, it was like, but I did the same thing. I was like, I'm going to treat this like anything else. I want to do this. Even with my podcast. Yeah. The funniest thing is I came with the idea and hit up A King. Yeah. And literally, because he lived in my neighborhood. Yeah. And I was like, what you doing? And we kept...
Man, shout out to A King, but fuck you, A King, but I love you, man. I'll tell you why, because I hit him up about coming here, and he didn't hear anything from him.
Oh, no, I will say this. Stop. Let's not do that.
No, I'm just saying this because I love him.
Well, I will say this. He be busy.
But he realistically was like, yeah, eventually he was just like, yeah.
No, he's good people. It's good people.
He's great people.
But I brought him up in good sense to say.
I'll give you your flowers and your bullshit. You can smell both of them, okay?
Oh, Jesus.
That's how my love is. That's all of it.
You know what?
Go ahead. But go ahead. Talk about your good friend.
Talk about my good friend. I've known A King since PNC Radio, like back in the day.
Yeah, PNC. Back down in, was it over
Dumbo.
here?
It was in Dumbo.
It was in Dumbo. That's right. And it was that one little building when you get out. Yeah.
Epic barbecue.
Oh,
Anyways, it was me, Nina. Oh, man, that was such a good time. But yeah, no, I hit him up like on some, because he's somebody I know knows podcasting.
Exactly.
And so I hit him up like, yo,
can I just meet up with you? Okay.
Can I talk to you? And I was just like, yo, I got this idea for this podcast. And he was like, yo, it's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
And so I hadn't seen him in like a month, maybe a month and a half. Yeah. And I saw him like somewhere and I was like, oh, he was like, hey, he said, so you ever like thought about doing the podcast? I said, oh no, I recorded the first episode yesterday. He was like, really? I was like, oh, you don't know me. Like, I was like, I'm very much so like, I get an idea, I snowball. It just snowballs. Like, that's how it was. For me, it's always been for me. It's like when I said I was going to be a poet, I was like, okay, I need a mailing list.
Matter of fact, you were the person I think told me about mailing list shit. That's why I have one now, and I hate emailing. I got to get back into it.
Look, your emails are great. I read them. I really do read them. I read your emails. I always I'll
be vibing for like a good 3 pages of email worth.
And I read the whole thing. I'd be like, yeah, man, I feel you, sir. You right. Go in. Yes, King. Yes, King. Go in. Let them know. I feel your struggle. I be all in here.
I'm gonna bring the email back out. If you want to be on the email, just hit me on my Patreon. You could just. I gotta make it. I gotta pay bills.
I was like, yo, Mike sent an email. Let me read it. And I'm reading it. I'm like, this is at my laptop too. That's not even like on some I'm bored on the train. I actually read. I like the email.
I'm gonna bring because I hear it back. Matter of fact, I do know because that's how we were doing this.
Because I replied to your email.
You replied to it, and I was like, no, just...
Because Mike always has shows when I'm not here. Like, he literally looks at my calendar and is like, Shanelle, there's booked somewhere.
That's right.
Let's do a secret show.
Yeah, let's do a secret show. Let's do a pop-up. We gonna pop up right now.
I'm like, man, I went to one show, and I haven't been able to go back since.
Yeah, I'm so good now.
You were good then. What are you talking about?
No.
It's okay. I understand.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, I was doing it, but now I'm like doing it. It's great.
Like, now I'm really good.
Now,
I got this. I found my voice out.
Yeah. It's weird. It's like I feel like artists always know their voice, but they don't know how to put that out to the world. That's like our biggest hurdle. It's like we see the world one way, and we want to talk about that however we want to talk about that, but we don't think the world is going to be able to hear it from what they see. So you keep talking about the world until enough people recognize you as a person that talks about the world. Then those people that know you can be like, oh yeah, I do accept her as that too, or accept that artist as someone who talks about the world because these other people do. It's a weird mental thing.
I get it.
You know? And then now existing in that weird space where it's like...
It's just, like I said, after a while, and I've asked people that, and I always say I have a special place in my heart for comedians because I cannot imagine trying to like do something funny in the political climate we live in right now, where it's like cancel everybody. People will take one line of anything you say and throw you all. If you listen to my first album, I probably would have gotten dragged. I would have been called out. They'd have said I was a victim shame, but they'd said all kind of stuff about me on my first album. I'm listening to it now. I'm like, ooh, that's problematic. But contextually, then it made sense. You know, I think that we don't give space for that, and there's no space for understanding like the environment that we also live in and the context for why things exist. But I did a song, a cover of Drake's Crew Love.
Yeah. Oh boy.
And I remember being like really nervous about it. No, it's because it's talking about.
Break this down.
I'm gonna break it down. The idea was I'm talking to my fellow femmes, you know, about the idea that like while we have embraced sexuality, let's be real, like you gotta love yourself before you worry about loving the crew. Like that's the whole concept of it. But I was like, Lord Jesus, watch somebody sit there and say that I'm trying to oppress women's sexuality or something like that. Like I was like, why should be said that? I threw it in there like, I ain't trying to shame you, just letting you know that your power's in danger. Because a lot of times people, like men numb their pain by like sex, you know, like, and just because now we're like a sexually liberated country doesn't mean that people aren't still numbing their pain through sex and calling it liberation. And I'm like, it's not liberation. That's
a nice drug. That's a nice drug.
We legalized that drug. Yeah. That's really what we did.
Yeah, it's great. Guys, well, we've been getting high off this for years.
Yeah, like, join in. Women joined in. All right.
Yeah, it's great. Everybody's like, not too much. not in excess.
No, but it's like, yeah. So I kind of talk about, but I remember being like nervous. Like, are people going to get it? Or are people going to be like, listen, if you just want to do it, you just do it. You know, and I'm like, some people can't. Everybody ain't built that way. And I tell everybody, I am not. We do anything, I'm leaving my toothbrush. We go together. It takes a lot for my brain to like be like, okay, he's not the one.
Really?
Oh yeah, I don't operate that. I can't. I suck at that. It takes a lot of like compartmentalizing.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'm like, I feel like I know I'm not the only one out there. Is anyone talking for us, like the rest of us? Or the people that are trying to perpetrate, like, this is what the life they want to live? And it's like, no, you're living this because you've been hurt and you think that this is what you need to do, or you've been taught this is what you need to do in order to exist in this world. You know, how much of it is us internalizing patriarchy? Like, how much is it the idea of like, I'm going to do what men do? What?
That's crazy.
That's not. No, we fought so we don't do what they do and be dysfunctional like them. Like,
it's a very weird. Like, that was the thing about the party too, because me going there, I remember when I used to go to parties, I'd either get like, I would like pregame for real. Get my clothes together, go out, be like, I'm going to kill him out here. I'm going to kill him. But I really went there like, oh, well, it's 2 o'clock. All right, let me get ready to go. Let's go. Let's sit down.
Jeans.
Everything's cool, right? And I'm in the area, and I feel like, oh, man, everybody here is kind of like putting on that extra front. Like an extra level of sauce on it. And I'm like, oh, is it that they have too much sauce, or do I not have enough sauce here? No, you're different sauces. They're curvier barbecue. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Thank you. Depending what your flavor is, you know, it works for everybody. But I mean, everybody goes. I've realized that everybody goes to party for different reasons. And I think that that's the thing. Is like, you know,
I don't bag.
To party
I don't bother. I go to party to party.
I'm a party.
Like,
I don't go to party next time.
I don't expect to bag anybody's party. I don't. Were
you getting the hollers at the thing?
No, I know too many people. One, that's always the problem of Shanelle Gabrielle. I know too many people. I can't holler at nobody because everybody knows somebody or know an ex, or something like that, or like, oh, that's my friend. Shit, I don't want to date you.
Yeah.
And
that was the Mike Brown problem once upon a time.
Yo,
that was the Mike Brown problem once upon a time.
What was the Mike Brown problem once upon a time?
Because I'd be like, oh, everybody done dated somebody I knew, or it's just like the circles are so small. And I'm just like, I just want to meet you as a person, and it's hard for me because I feel I'm a little. When it comes to like dating and stuff, like I've always felt a little just weird. I never knew when people were hitting on me. I just thought people were being nice.
People like you get on my nerves.
I just
I mean, guys told me like later on after they got married, like I had a crush on you, and I'm like, shut the. I flung a piece of paper across the table. Everyone. It's like a frustration. I was like, but I'm like, they're like, I thought you were being nice to me. I was like, I was so flirting. I think.
You don't even know.
I was like, yeah, no, but you're fine. I can't remember. It was one specific person. They brought it up like a while back, and I was just like, bruh, I literally like went out with you, and he was like, he tried to make it like it was consulting or some John.
Was it consulting?
He was like, because he worked in a field, an area that I could help him in.
Yeah.
But then I was like, but you're fine. Like you'll be all right. He was like, thank you. I was like, I think I'd do another one in. He was just like, I thought you were just complimenting me. I'm like,
yeah, I thought that was fine.
I don't be sitting there calling.
That's like you're saying, but you're great. You're doing
no,
right.
I said
that's how he took it.
I was talking about it. No, I was talking about attractive. I was like, but look at you. Like, I went hard. That was the one time I was like, I know I was effectively flirting, and your brain was just like, she's being friendly.
Yeah, that's how we like. If I think it's like the thing of just being like, hey, I like you. Oh, then that changes everything. I remember never hearing that, but also I had this thing in my brain where I sometimes would put like somebody I was interested on such a pedestal where I'd be like, it's like this weird pedestal, also depressive state where it's like, oh, this person is not even interested in me. So you don't even recognize it when it's happening. And then even if you do recognize it happening, you're such in a low state. Well, I'm talking to me, but like such in a low state where you're like, oh, I want to be with this person and like kind of give them the world and know that you don't have the world, that you're not in a place to give everything because you're so scared of it. And then that's why you just like, you end up just sitting in this weird space. And then I think that's where the whole sex and numbing pain and stuff comes in, because it's like, oh, or you can just have sex with this person that is, just wants to have sex with you, but then you might not know that person is actually into you. And you think it's just sex. But it's like, no, that person that's how they show like they're really, it's so weird.
Hashtag watch reason Shanelle single.
Damn. It's not because of those abs. Hashtag not because of those abs.
It actually lends itself to it too.
Really?
Because it was abs? I need to go back to the gym. Like, bruh, you don't gotta be like brawling the date beat. So I've had that too.
Yes, you do. No. Fellas, listening. Anybody listening.
No.
You gotta make sure.
I just need you healthy. Like, I need to like not think, oh my God, I'm gonna outlive you. I need you to like at least come around.
That's not even fair. As a black woman, y'all gonna be the ones. Y'all
okay,
like.
I got a chronic illness. You should have a one up on me, sir.
I'm making it fair.
Like, I need you to survive. Okay, I need you.
Gotta.
This could go crazy. When I'm like 80.
Oh my God.
Need you to at least catch me around that time.
Right, 80? Yeah.
But no, I mean. I feel like all of our insecurities play their roles in the way we interact with each other, both on a friendship level as well as relationships. Like, we all have all these insecurities that come about from, like, it could have been like one person that said one thing to you once in 8th grade, and for the rest of your life you're like, I'm convinced that XYZ.
Somebody, this girl in I think I was in 6th grade, 6th or 7th, and she said, "You know what, Mike Brown? You'd be nothing without those hazel eyes." And that stuck with me. That is like a fucking splinter that I can't get out. That one is like, damn. Like sometimes I want to just like wear brown contacts and just see the world differently.
Be like, am I regular?
Am I regular? Is anybody caring about me right now? Am I even noticed? Like it's a real weird thing that goes through my mind all the time.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
I was told that.
I didn't even like that girl neither. She just brought that up. She was like, hey, Mike Brown. It just hit me with that and left.
It doesn't matter. It's a jewel that like can stick in your head. This guy I knew in church when I was younger, I mentioned the idea. I was like, maybe I should do like one of those competition shows. And he was like, I mean, you can sing, but you can't sing. Stuck with me. Same thing. Stuck with me. To this point where I'm like, I can sing, but I can't sing.
I can't sing.
Like I ain't doing. I'm not doing all of that like them church riffs. So and that's what happens too. Like it always becomes one person said one thing.
Yeah.
And then for some reason that thing just like stung so hard that it stays.
Yeah. I mean, it's also like, in a weird way, it's also motivation too. In one sense where it's like, well, if I'm nothing without them and I feel like I'm something, I'm going to try to be the something I want to be.
Even more the something.
Yeah. In a way, like my goals are so fucking insane that like if I start hitting them, it's going to be nuts. But like I do believe that I deserve to. It's my whole thing is like I'm just trying at this point. Like I'm really. I think I used to be super optimistic. I think after Mikey died, like it flipped a switch for me where I'm just like, well, fuck it, and I just like threw caution to the wind. It's like working at a job and then getting like getting let go, getting laid off, or just getting fired, and you're like, what? Okay, well I tried. I'm gonna sell drugs now. Like that's the feeling for me. I was like, I was gonna get this bad, then all right, here we go, true. Artistry,
I mean, hey, whatever gets you there, right?
Yeah.
Lupus did that to me, so.
Lupus was your thing?
Yeah, once when I got sick, I got diagnosed my junior year.
Yeah.
And then like the winter after my junior year started, I was in the hospital for the first time ever in my life.
Yeah.
Like I've never even had like a broken bone, much less to be kept overnight. Yeah. And I had to leave. I had an internship. I had to leave my internship.
You always focus on the work.
You
always go to the hospital. You always got to leave the next day. You got to be out.
Well, no, because it just comes at an opportune time. That's the thing about it. I just started an internship at EMI in the music marketing. I was working at a label.
I got this internship I got to get to.
Facts. I did.
Years later.
I did.
But Doc.
I got this check. I got this rent.
I got this rent I got to pay.
Those are people problems.
That's.
But I thought about like how much I really cared about whether... like what am I doing? What do I do that I care about, and how do I live my life doing the things that mean a lot to me? You know, and at that point in time, poetry was the thing that bit me, and I was like, "Yo,
that's what we're gonna do.
I'm gonna figure it out." I was like, "I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna make it make sense. I'm not gonna, I was, I'm gonna have a job while I do it." Then when I realized my job let me go.
Yeah. Oh
and, well, no, they tried to transfer me. And I said, it's a sign. It's all right. I'm not coming back.
How far did they try to transfer you?
It was like from Manhattan to Brooklyn. The fact that they tried to transfer, but it was just the fact that they tried to transfer me.
Oh, okay.
I was like, it's a sign. I don't need to be here.
Okay, so you took it like, that was
my light bulb. I had a show that night.
Yeah.
I was under the hairdryer getting my hair done for the show. Mm-hmm. And they said that, and I literally got to the show, and a bunch of my coworkers are there, and I was like, I got let go today, and they're like, what? And that day, God bless Delta Zeta Chapter Alpha Phi Alpha, they booked me at Syracuse. So I was like, at least I know I got one check coming in this month. I hosted the Miss Black and Gold pageant.
Oh, man.
And they paid me a nice check.
That's
and then the next month, I got booked for all of the knockers. I was going to have to quit anyway.
Yeah.
There was no way I could do it. And after that was my life. My life was from like Thursday to Monday, I was on the road.
Yeah.
So, things happen sometimes for a reason. And even as like, I was even reading what you had posted on IG about the idea of like, sometimes we wonder why. Like, what is the purpose of all of this?
Yeah.
I just kind of like always looked at it like, like I look at it like there's no other option but to just figure it out. Like that's how it's always have to be. Like a lot of times it's like, why, like the, ethereal question is, the forever question is going to be like, what are we here for? And I'm like, just to do, just to keep moving. And like, whatever that looks like, keep moving in a way that makes most sense at the moment. And this makes sense right now. I'm going to do this,
Yeah.
Because, we're here and we're blessed to be here, even if it doesn't feel like a blessing all the time.
Yeah.
How do I?
There's a purpose. Like there's, I feel that there, not a purpose, but just do. And that contribution of doing something means so much to the world and all that.
I don't even think about the world.
Okay.
I'm just like this.
To you.
To me, it's just like I can sing. I should sing.
Facts.
I got these poems. People seem to like them. I'm gonna just do these poems. It's literally like how poetry started. I did a poem, and people were like, "Yo, I like this poem." I was like, "Oh, I should do this more often."
And it works. You're like, okay.
And here I am.
Here you are. Well, let the people know. We'll close out. Say whatever you want to say to the listeners to find you and all that stuff.
You can find me. I was about to say a rap song. There's a rap song. You can find me. I don't remember what it was. But I'm on Instagram at Shanelle Gabrielle.
Spell it out for them.
I know, because no one ever spells. SHANELLE, Gabriel like the angel, GABRIEL. So it's Shanelle Gabrielle on Instagram. ShanelleGabrielle.com has like everything about me listed, my music, my poetry. I have a blog. I also talk a lot about lupus.
Sorry, we didn't talk about it much on this podcast.
No, we definitely did.
I mean, we did, but we didn't. It wasn't like the lupus podcast. You know
Thank
what I mean?
you. I don't want it to be.
Okay,
it's okay because we live lupus is a disease that affects 1.5 million Americans every year, and primarily women of color. We're 3 times more likely to have it than our white counterparts, and there's no cure. And so I advocate for it. If you want to learn more about it, I have a poem about it as well as a whole page on my website dedicated to it. And if you go to Access Health, I actually was recently on a half-an-hour special talking about living with lupus.
Ooh. Okay. Ow. Okay.
Humble brag.
Okay.
So, you can go on Lifetime Network and look for it. But yeah, that's the best way to find me is ShanelleGabrielle.com on all my stuff. And I'm on iTunes, Spotify, and you can check the podcast out, The Compound Movement, THA, Compound Movement. Yeah, that's me.
Thanks for doing the show.
Thank you for having me. We figured it out.
I told you to figure it. It's so laid back. It's so relaxed. No anxiety.
Everything's
fine. I want to shout out to PVD who does the music at PVD Music on Twitter, and his website's PVD Music. Shout out to Chris T. You listen to You Good, whatever. You're gonna put the intro, right? Okay, cool. Also, for all the listeners out there, thank you for listening. And I am doing more for that Instagram. You see, I'm posting more.
Yay.
I'm trying. And I'm not talking about for my personal one. I'm not talking about for yomikebrown. I'm talking about for the @YouGoodPod. Okay? Like, I want that to just exist as its own thing because I don't want to give too much of my own personal life out to the world because I'm still getting over my social media addictions, which suck. Anyway, thanks for listening. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming. And before I get out of here, just remember that Shanelle is more privileged than all of us. Take care.